Here's Vice President Kamala Harris has her hands full these days. Not with crises like the border or inflation or high prices. Instead, she's focusing on gender strategy, because that's exactly what we need. The VP riling up Republicans after tweeting this: President Biden and I released the first ever national gender strategy. This is our vision for the future of our nation, one that is bold in strategy and one that this moment calls for. Senator Tom Cotton pouncing on that, posting, "The White House has no interest in solving inflation, the border, or rising gas prices, but plenty of time for a 42-page national gender strategy with an intersectional focus on climate change." Kennedy, sounds like they've got their priorities in order.
Yes, they do. If they want to alienate voters who are struggling to pay their grocery and gas bills, they're doing a fantastic job. And I understand that, yes, there's room for this kind of outreach in their party, but you definitely have to prioritize what you're tackling first, rolling up your sleeves, getting a little dirty, and making sure that the economy is functioning so people aren't hurting, especially as we come up toward the holidays. So this may be great for a certain section of the party. They may voraciously just consume all of this. However, inflation, supply chain crisis, foreign policy is a disaster. We've already touched on immigration. She needs to look like a more serious person, and she can talk about her transgender agenda, all while taking care of the country at the same time.
Certainly, and that's what the Trump White House did. We were all about bringing women into the workforce, into STEM, but also focusing on issues that cross gender lines like inflation and whatnot, what they're dealing with now. The White House, though, releasing this statement: President Biden and Vice President Harris believe that advancing gender equity and equality is fundamental to every individual's economic security, safety, health, and ability to exercise their most basic rights. It is also essential to economic growth and development, democracy and political stability, and the security of nations across the globe. How are the great humanitarians doing on that one, Emily?
Meanwhile, the media across the entire globe covered extensively how Afghans are selling their young daughters into forced labor and sex slavery because they are starving. Where was Kamala then? Where was she when we watched Afghan women being whipped with hoses in the streets while peacefully protesting against the Taliban takeover? Where was she when we watched young female toddlers being dropped by human smugglers over the wall at the southern border? Look, actions speak louder than words, and her actions scream that she does not care about women and girls and their suffering.
It's an excellent point. And where is she, Harris, on the nearly 500 tasks she's been given by Biden? Voting rights, getting people vaccinated. Where's she on that?
Staying politically protective and protected.
Yeah.
Right? We've talked about having aspirations maybe of a higher office than the vice presidency at this point. We don't have anything confirmed. You look at actions. And what do you do if you want to stay politically clean? You step back. And the only person that I know of right now who at that level in the White House has lower approval ratings than the president is Kamala Harris. So I guess you would want to stay clean, right? You got to hang on to at least what you got. My question is, at 42 pages, you said it is, right, on diversity and attacking issues, LGBT and all those things, and problems and so on and so forth. What happens if they don't work? What happens if that becomes another job that doesn't get done? I think it's more explosive for this White House to tinker with the things that could really backfire with their base than to try to fix the things that hit everybody all at once, like inflation.
Yeah, 100%.
It's politically a powder keg if they don't get it right. Yeah. And what proof do we have that they will yet? Have they shown us? Do they have a track record?
No, the only thing that's been proven to us is that Kamala Harris is on a PR campaign. I think that's her only focus, Chris Bedford, because LA Times did an analysis of where she's been in her events over this year. And here's what they found, that 1/5 of her events in September, October were with Biden. Compare that to 3/4 in January and February. She was everywhere with him, in the Roosevelt Room, talking to foreign leaders, at the Pentagon with him. She was attached to his side. But now, of the 7 events where she was supposed to be with him this month, 6 were behind closed doors. She wants nothing to do with this guy.
Yeah, she's facing two different issues. One, the team seems suspicious of each other. The White House is suspicious of the vice president, or the executive is, and vice versa, back and forth. Also, neither of them really add much to the other. With both of them sinking so much in the polls, Kamala Harris doesn't want to be seen that much, probably, with Joe Biden and vice versa. And you can tell just how unpopular Vice President Harris is by the fact that during this recall election that they were so worried about in California, the senator from California didn't even really show up more than once or twice because she wasn't actually someone who could help these numbers. She's not pushing anything in the right direction. And it's not surprising that she'd be pushing this diversity stuff now, this LGBT stuff right now. She's got nothing else she can focus on. When she went down to Central America to deal with the root problems of immigration, she tried to accuse these states that suffered under narco-terrorism of having a problem with LGBT and anti-black discrimination. It's completely removed from reality, and so is she.
And never forget, this is the Biden-Harris administration. They told us that. They told us that's what we had to call it.